Much goodness for the stars. I really appreciate. Be blessed. God bless you. Yeah. So the last episode was about the wheel, the gift of the wheel, and we are going to build on it. Actually, I realized that I have quite a lot for today. You want to join in for the video? Okay. Let me accept you. You couldn't join due to technical issues. I'm so sorry. We'll try again another time or maybe later. Anyways, so we have quite a lot, but I feel like we will have to split it because of our time is fast spent due to technical issues. But so yeah, the last time we spoke about the will, the power of the will, and we're actually going to build on it this episode. We are going to build on it. I said the other time that the power of the will is a gift given to us by our Creator. He gave it to us to be co-creators with Him, as well as to regulate our relationship within ourselves, the relationship with ourselves and the relationship with Him. It's very important. If you have not watched the first episode, please just take the time and go through it, because there were some insightful things on that. And then this episode, we are actually going to talk about, right. And I know it's very confusing, so that's why I want to bring clarity on this concept, right. What is this right? A lot of people claim right. They claim they are right, and I am right about this issue, or when there is argument, everyone wants to have their own right. But are we actually using the right? Are we using right in its right context, how it's supposed to be? Are we actually using it that way? If you understand what I said about the will, that there is two types of will. There is the will of the mind and the will of the spirit. And most of the time in arguments, we use the will of the mind, to win an argument. And most of the time, we take it in a way that's why I attached emotion to it as well. We take it in a way that it's kind of like what is good and acceptable to us, But before I continue, I want to ask a question, and I please want you all to be involved in this. I want this session really to be interactive. Before I continue, because I've already said a little bit about this right and what I mean with it, can you give me, in your own understanding, what the concept will be about? Like I just gave a roughly, like in argument we want to claim right and so forth, but in your own little understanding, can you just say, I think this is what it will be, or this is what it's going to be? Right and will. Yeah. So what do you think if you know the will, and then now coming to right? What do you think the concept is actually about? Easy base, can you try? Oh goodness, all of you just comment. Okay. Right. Okay, you did not get me. What I want to ask is, do you or can you say easy best our action? Okay. So the concept of right, what do you think I mean by that? What do you think I mean by, or I want to mean by, the concept of right? I started with saying, like, we in argument everyone wants to claim right. Okay. Yeah, you can't really say it. It's a fair answer. It's true, because you will not know the direction I want to go, right? Okay. Anyone else? Yeah. You know, one thing I said about the will is that the will in its natural form is untamed. It is dangerous because it is self-seeking, it is prideful, arrogant, and it leads to chaos because the will only thinks about itself. Me, I, myself, and I. And so we don't really relate the will to that of others. And so most of the time, everyone wants to just, fight for themselves. Me, what I want. And this is what I want it and how I want it, and so it should be. And based on that, we claim rights. We claim to have rights over something based on our own will that we are pushing through. While the right understanding of this is actually wrong, because when you push your will through, it is based on how you think. Like Easy Best, you said, our actions. The action comes from our thinking. And the Bible says, as a man think in his heart, so is he. So the way you think influences how you act. Now, if the way you think is not grounded in the right understanding, we are going to, miss it. And why it's so important for me to be bringing this topic out is because I see the society that we are living today that we are missing it big time. We have shifted from the origin, from the purpose why we were giving some certain things. I said God gave us the will, that is his likeness. He gave it to us as a gift. Now, having this, it was not meant for us to use it anyhow. And then he also gave us, inbuilt in us, inbuilt, not something we learn from outside, inbuilt in nature, is the principle of right and wrong. In all of us, in each of us, we have this, and this concept, we have it in us. We know within us when something is right and when something is wrong. We know it within us. But due to the circumstances, due to culture, due to tradition, due to religion, which is different from faith, it has corrupted our understanding, and it has corrupted the way that our Creator, wanted us to use this principle of right. And so we have come to shift from how we are supposed to understand things. We have shifted it and replacing right with good. And sometimes I write, right is not good. Some people think that I'm saying that, right, right is not. No, what I mean is that right, as we are supposed to understand it, is not the same as good. What do I mean by that? Right is inbuilt in us. It's in nature. Even the animals know. They act instinctively. It's in us. Right is inbuilt in nature, and it's a principle that you cannot deviate from. If you deviate from it, you are actually going against yourself. For example, let's bring this gender issue in. How many genders do we have? Can someone tell me? Can someone answer me, please? How many genders do we have? I want interaction, please. How many genders do we have? How many gender? In this world that we live in now, we have different gender affiliated feelings. But in actual sense, there are how many? There are two, male and female. He created them male and female. That's the right concept, the right understanding of gender. But due to how we want, or how society wants us to interpret things and understand things, there are different theories, feel-good theories that have been brought out there. Thank you, Susan. 2 genders. 3. You have explanation, or you have to explain. 3. You know, can you explain to me with the 3 genders what you mean? Which one is the third gender? Anyways, to bring us back to the core, the right understanding, the right thing is that there are 2 genders. Male and female, he made them. And so, as he made them male and female, there cannot be anatomy, and you know, our anatomy does not lie. Your body, biology does not lie. That is right. It does not lie. So, no matter how you want to change your body to be something else, your anatomy, the bones, will tell the truth. And that is what right is all about. Good evening, Tienya. God bless you. Welcome. That is what right is all about. You know, right is truth. Truth can only be hidden for a time, but it will surely show up. Truth is universal everywhere, no matter where you go. Truth is truth. And that is what I mean with right. Truth cannot, if your truth is different from my truth, if I should see a man and you call the man a woman, then something is wrong. If I should see how should I say it, a girl, and then you try to tell me it's a boy, there's something that's wrong. Truth should be the same no matter our circumstances, no matter our religion, no matter our ethnical background. Truth remains truth. And that is what right is all about. I am doing well. Thank you so much. I hope you're also doing well. Welcome. You can't hide truth forever, indeed, goodness. Truth will always show up. It might take a time, it will take a time, but it will surely show up. And that is what right is. Right is truth. Right is universal truth. It is truth for you, it is truth for me. For example, I wrote in my book, Become, those of you that have not yet, found time to buy the book and read it, I really recommend it. Because there is so much. It's a little book, but I really put in a lot that we can, talk about and that I'm bringing also out here a little bit. I wrote in the book, Become, about this concept of right. And I say it is not the same as good. Because good is what, the emotional aspect of it, what feels good to us, what makes us, what we think society wants us to do, or what is acceptable in our culture, tradition. Do you understand? That is good. That is based on good. That cannot replace right. It is not the same as right, and it cannot replace right. It's just something that is acceptable, tolerated within a certain group or a society, and so it becomes for that group and that society what they claim as right. But it is not a universal truth, because if you move from that society, if you move from that group and go to a different place, that truth that they had there, that they held there, does not hold anymore. So it is not universal. It is not right. Right is universal truth. The universal truth is you have the right to live as we all have the right to live. We have the right for life. That's a universal truth. It doesn't matter which color, it doesn't matter which nationality, it doesn't matter which religion. Murder in all culture is wrong. The act of killing is wrong. Absolutely wrong. So that act alone of taking a human life, killing another human being in every culture is condemned. But what makes it now become acceptable or good is how it is now defended. It's how it is now, the one group will now say it was honor killing, and so it is accepted. The other group will now say no, it was terrorism, and so it cannot be accepted. The one group will now say it is based on self-defense, and so the motive, the reason becomes now the basic based on which the act of killing, which is wrong, is judged. And so justice is based on how effective something is defended. And so that's why I say also that right or truth is not fact. Some people confuse it and say, oh yes, it's a fact, it's a truth. No, because facts can change. Facts depend on what you can prove, the evidence you can bring. And so when you say something is a fact, and so truth, you are actually also confusing it, because I can also come and prove the opposite of what you just proved. That's what is going on in science. Science is all about what can you prove. You've proved this, I come and disprove you, and you prove me, and so forth and so forth. And so it is constantly, now it's a fact, tomorrow that fact is, kind of like, yeah, it was a fact yesterday, but now we found new evidence that it's not. And so the fact that you knew then changes. So the truth that you knew changes. But the real truth is unchangeable. It is not bound by time. It is not bound by season. It is not, if 10 years to come, it will still remain truth. And that is the principle of rights that God Himself gave to us to guide us in life. It's very important we get this right. It's very important we understand it, because it will help us in our becoming, in our journey of becoming. It will help us to have a better understanding of how we are created and why we are created and how we are expected, to use these privileges, actually, principles that God gave to us. Take, for example, you want to sow corn. You want to sow corn, but you go and sow rice. Is it corn that will grow? It is not corn that will grow. Rice will grow for you. So even the earth responds to the concept of right. What you put in is what it will reproduce you. What you put in is what it will reproduce to you. You can never grow corn, you can never sow corn and expect rice. You can never sow corn and expect wheat. What you put in. And then as you put in, as you are sowing, if you don't put in the work, it will also not yield to you. It will also not respond to you. Dr. Miles Monroe once said something. He said, when you have a seed, like you have a seed, you have mango seed, and you put it somewhere, in 10 years to come, when you come back, you still find the seed there. It's not going to nowhere, and it's not doing anything. Why? Because the simple law has not been obeyed. The law built in it, the right law built in it, has not been obeyed. Why? Put it in soil, plant it in a soil, in a fertile ground, and it will now start to grow. Both the seed and the ground will do their work when the right thing is done. So the concept of right is so important for us to understand it. When you're arguing, why I bring this up and connect it also with our will, most of the time when we are arguing, we argue based on what makes us feel good and what we think we know, based also on our background, what our upbringing, what we have been conditioned to think, and also how we have been socialized. It have influence on the way we think. It has influence on the way we take decisions. It has influence on our emotions, and that derives us away from how things are supposed to be in the first place. So if you think you are right, you are going to argue based on the knowledge that you have and think you are right, and obviously miss some aspects, because the knowledge that you have is limited. But because you are so convinced you are right, you argue it point and blank and say, I have proven my case, so I'm right, I won it. But argument is not only to win, it is also to learn. When you're arguing, have an open mind. Hear what the other person is saying, and then think about it. Test it to the concept of right, not to the concept of good. Does it feel good to me? Because one thing that right does is it actually makes you feel uncomfortable, because your conscience will convict you when you are doing something that is wrong. Your conscience will convict you. Also, when you know that the other person is wrong, you'll also know it. But sometimes we find ourselves in situations that because we don't want to offend someone, we play along. Although we know what we are doing or what the other person is saying is wrong, we play along because we don't want to injure them. We don't want to, miss our chances with them, whatever chances we think we have. We don't want to, and so we play along. Or sometimes we don't also want to admit our mistakes, and so we still stubbornly hold on to what is wrong and call it right. My dear people, I have this burden really for us to get these concepts right, because the society we are living in is completely and totally, at the other side. And if we don't get the concept right, we cannot start building ourselves, our individual selves, and therefore we cannot build society. Look, what is society? Society is made up of individuals, you and I. It is you and I that made up a society. A society is not made up of, I don't know what. We the individuals make up the society, and it is how we think, how we understand things that we reproduce into the society. So if we don't start taking back ground and putting things back how it's supposed to be, we are going to miss it big time. And not only us, but our generation, the generation coming after us. And that's why I think God is raising us up to get the concept right, to get back to the origin of things, to get back to how things were supposed to be in the first place, not how things are now. Because how things are now, if we don't analyze it and put it back where it's supposed to be, my dear sisters and brothers, is going to, like I said, when we push our will through, it leads to chaos. Look around you in the society, what do you see? And whatever where there is chaos, you that you are growing in it, if you are not aware of it and start reprogramming yourself to the original plan, you take over this chaos as well and reproduce chaos. It's very important we get this right. It's very important when you are in the process of becoming, to always ask yourself, what ideologies are theories, what ideologies, the theories that have formed me, the tradition that I come from, what did they believe in? What things did they give to me, which we call values? Values, which belief systems did they give to me that I now hold dear? And based on that, I make my decisions. Based on that, I take steps in life. Because values give us guidance in our behavior. The kind of values that you have help you to either give you a good attitude, or produce the other way. In the West, for example, raising children, if you don't take care and you're not careful, it will be like children are allowed to say whatever and do whatever they want. You should let them be free. You should let them say. And by saying whatever they want, they learn. Well, I disagree with that. But let's go to the other side. We that are brought up in authoritarian regime, let me put it this way, you have no say. Whatever you say, if adults are talking, quiet as a child. You should not express yourself. Like, how dare you even talk back? I mean, how dare you even talk back? How should you express yourself before? Who even gave you that liberty, to do that? In both cases, hello Sunday, welcome, God bless you. I am doing fine and I trust you're also doing fine. Welcome. In both cases, we miss something. In the case where children are allowed to do whatever they want, we miss guidance. We miss structure. We miss, guiding them through the right process. When do you say something? How do you say something? In the other way, where we shut them down as well, we also miss something. Yes, Sundays, 8 p.m. Central European Time. So, I think 1 hour earlier from us. God bless you. So we miss also that. We miss also the guidance because we are not given the chance, the room to express ourselves correctly. And so when you make a mistake, no, this is not how you're supposed to say it. Maybe this way or that way. We are shut down. And so in both cases, what do you get? You get individuals that are emotionally wounded souls, bruised, and don't know how to correctly use these emotions. And they are now adults and using their will, standing on their right. That's why I said the role of emotions is really always. It's very important we get to understand what the role of emotion have to, how important it is for us to know when we are taking certain decisions. Because remember, choice is not an option. We must choose. It is mandatory that we choose. That is the gift, the purpose of the gift of the will. So if you are going to choose and you are not aware of what kind of theories, philosophies, religion, whatever that is influencing your choice, you are going to miss it big time. If you come from the background that I described as, emotionally being shut down, you have to have the understanding when you are reacting to some certain things. How is this coming? Where is this coming from? Where is this coming from? Why am I reacting to this way? Just asking yourself those, it's not a crime. It's just for you to have an understanding. Oh yes, it's because of this, or I'm reacting to this because of that, so that you will know not to act unnecessarily when you can actually let some things go. It's very important that we also know when you are making a choice. Am I making this choice based on the concept of right? You know, when we follow the principles of God, honestly, we cannot go wrong. We cannot go wrong. When we give the principle, when we allow the principle of God to be the, what is principle? Principle is first thing, first law. So when we allow this and understand it and walk in it, we cannot go wrong. But it's really difficult because the path of right is a lonely path. You know, when you want to do right, you stand alone because people will take you for a fool. People will say, this person, you know, there's something, come on, you see opportunity, use it. But because you want to stand on the path of right, you say no. They'll tell you, you're lost. But in actual sense, it is their loss. Because in the short term, they might think they are gaining, but in the long run, they will lose. When you choose to stand on the path of right, know that you are going to stand and face. Good evening, Lydia. Welcome. God bless you. You are going to face, opposition. You are going to face opposition, and it's easier to follow the other way. It's easier to, say, come on, let's go ahead and follow them. Let's follow them, do what they do. It's easier that way, because then you are the friend of everyone. You don't talk, or you don't actually let their conscience convict them by your rightful living. So it's very important we have this understanding. I'm going to stop here because our time is fast spent. I'm still going to come back with the role of emotion and how this affect us in many ways. I'm going to go maybe deeper into the different types of emotions. Good evening, good evening, Dawn. Welcome. I'll go deeper into the different types of emotions on our next episode, because I feel it's your emotions. And emotions, I'm very sorry, are deceitful. In my book, I make I differentiate, decisions taken from the heart of the mind and decisions taken from the heart of the spirit. The same differentiation I make with the will of the mind and the will of the heart of the spirit. So it's very important, because any decision you are making that you make from your head, your will, it's fluid. It can change any time. But because when you're going to take certain decisions and it comes really from the depth of your spirit, you take time, you think about it, and so you are not easily, you are not going to change that easily, because it really came from the depth of your spirit. And it's very important that we know that, we understand it, where we are taking decisions from, and test it to the principle. Where we all have, it will help us. I make it different. I differentiate knowledge with knowledge. Knowledge is, people say that knowledge is power. Information is power, knowledge is power. But what makes knowledge powerful is the insight that you have about that knowledge. You can be knowledgeable in a thing, But if you don't have the right insight, which surpasses understanding, you will not be able to use that knowledge correctly. And so having knowledge is one thing, but having the understanding and the insight of that knowledge, and the insight is how you apply the knowledge, how you use it, will help you. And that is what we are going to do here to help us. I'm also learning daily, and together, bring out the best within us, the greatness, the hidden treasures that is already in us, so that we can become whom we are already destined to be. All right. Yes, 8 p.m. Central